I'm Ryan from ExtremeTerrain.com, and this is my review and installation of the Old Man Emu steering stabilizer fitting your 2007 and up JK. The installation of this steering stabilizer is a very simple 1 out of 3 wrench installation. It's important to note what a steering stabilizer, or more accurately a steering dampener, really does for your Jeep. When you're driving down the road and you hit a big bump, especially when you have big tires, a steering dampener will suck up some of that shock that would otherwise be transferred up through your steering linkage into your steering wheel and that you would actually feel while driving the Jeep. A steering stabilizer is not there to eliminate any wobble, any bump steer, and certainly any death wobble that you might have. If you have any of those steering issues, you have a steering geometry or steering linkage problem, and there are ways to both diagnose and fix those problems, and a steering stabilizer is not one of them. In fact, a steering stabilizer or steering dampener is not even necessary in your steering system. It is a luxury and not a necessity if your steering system is set up properly. So this is not a band-aid. This is not there to cover up any issues that you might have. However, if you do like having a steering stabilizer installed on your Jeep and your current one is either bent or broken from off-roading or just leaking and blown out, a replacement is certainly something that you can do. Now, this one from Old Man Emu does require that additional bracket, which of course is going to be some additional cost, and the stabilizer itself, while it is bigger and beefier than some of the other ones on the market, is also more expensive than some of the other ones on the market. And again, that's not necessarily a necessity for a lot of you. So it comes down to what you like on your Jeep. If you have OME parts, if you have their lift kit, if you want to stick with one brand, and you have the budget for it, you can go ahead and pick this up. If you're just looking for a replacement steering stabilizer, you can go with a factory or factory style stabilizer that's a little bit less expensive, because at the end of the day, all these are is a 50-50 valve shock. As I said, this steering stabilizer is a little bit beefier than some of the other ones on the market. This is a 35mm bore. It has a slightly longer stroke than some of the others. This has a 9-stage valving, although at the end of the day, like I said, it's just a 50-50 valve shock like any other steering stabilizer. The fact that you do need an additional bracket in order to install this on your Jeep, in my opinion, is a bit of a drawback because it's some additional cost and one extra step in the installation. However, if you really like the Old Man Emu brand, this is still going to be an option for you. So this install is still going to be a 1 out of 3 wrench installation, and you can still get this done in probably around an hour, but you do have to install that additional bracket. The first step in the installation is, of course, removing your factory steering stabilizer and then bolting up that additional mounting bracket. After that, you can bolt your new steering stabilizer into place and you're finished. Again, very simple, just some hand tools are necessary for the job, but that additional bracket does create a little bit more work. This steering stabilizer is going to come in at a little over $90, and that's before you purchase that additional mounting bracket. Now, in my opinion, that is a little bit much to pay for a steering stabilizer that's going to do the same thing as any other steering stabilizer on the market, and a lot of those other ones are less expensive and don't require that additional bracket. So if you have a bent, broken, or leaking steering stabilizer and you're looking to replace it, there are a lot of OEM or OE style replacement steering stabilizers that are going to be significantly less expensive than this one. However, if you really like the Old Man Emu brand, you're willing to pay a premium for that brand, and you're okay having to purchase an additional mounting bracket, this option is there for you. So that's my review of the Old Man Emu steering stabilizer fitting your 2007 and up JK that you can find right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.